I got on the internet recently to check prices of a used Hyundai Veloster and was rather surprised to see that around 15 to 20% of them have titles that say either salvage or rebuilt, and translated that means some hot rodder was either drifting and ran into a telephone pole or racing around roads and went off the edge. The owners of these are driving them rather hard, and that's with the low horsepower engines. What's going to happen when they put the high output 275 horsepower engine under the hood? Well, in any case, that's the horsepower they're offering now, and I just ordered one. The Hyundai Veloster Type N, designed to compete with the Honda Civic Type R. And here it is, a black beauty. I'm glad they didn't send this in the summertime, because the black paint really attracts heat and I'd be roasting alive, but we're in January, it's only 59 degrees outside, so that won't be an issue. And here's the N emblem, so all the onlookers will know you spent the extra bucks. The giant exhaust tips are a tip-off too, but there's something special under the hood. The Veloster comes with a variety of engines in 147 horsepower, 201 turbo, a 250 horsepower turbo, and this 275 horsepower turbo designed to compete with the Honda Civic R that puts out 306 ponies. The lower horsepower output Velosters come with a 6-speed manual, 6-speed automatic, 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. In the N series, you have your choice, a 6-speed manual like you get in the Honda Civic Type R, or this beautiful 8-speed dual-clutch automatic, which is a really nice piece of work. If you want to shift manually, paddle shifters are on the steering wheel. There's a drive mode for Eco, Normal, or Sport. There's also a custom mode with a variety of features. To get into the N Performance computer, just press the magic button here. And this screen pops up. I'm not going to go over the entire program. The video will be way too long, but we'll look at some of the better features. If you press the custom mode, you have custom settings for engine, transmission, exhaust sound, suspension settings, steering, other items. There's also a launch control program for those who like to drag race from a stoplight. This one's set at 3,500 RPM at the moment. As of yet, I've not been able to get the system to activate. I suspect the factory probably disconnected it before they sent it out on loan, as they often do in their prototype cars. I'll be looking at that a little bit later. But I wasn't planning on drag racing it anyway. I think I can live without it. In the meantime, since we're in the cabin, let's take a look at the other items, like a nice large glove box. Very simple climate controls. A couple knobs, a few buttons, the way it should be. The radios were easy to program.
Maybe that's a false dichotomy to me.
Easy to program the presets as well. My favorite feature of all, a good old-fashioned manual parking brake, instead of that electronic parking brake garbage they try to give us nowadays. This is the best way to go. Yes, I know it does take up a lot of room, but they could also put a manual parking brake on the floor next to the brake pedal. Either way is fine. Either way is better than an electronic brake, though. We do not get a spare tire, just a cheesy tire repair kit. They say it's done to save weight because it's a performance car. Yeah, okay, but if you're going out of state on a long trip, you might want to get a spare tire anyway. Beats waiting for a tow truck. If you get a real serious flat tire, like a cut on the sidewall. Let's take a look at these headlights and take them out in the dark, see what they do, as we do in all our videos. It's dark enough. Let's see what these headlights do. Look pretty bright. Here we have the low beams on a wall 100 feet away, very bright, good height. Go to high beam. Not very bright. Should be interesting to see what happens at a longer distance. Here we have the high beams on a building 300 feet away, and even though the beam seems rather weak to me, it does reach out and do the job, so I guess we shouldn't complain. Go to low beam. Goes out around 80% on the right and about 60% on the left. Overall, more than adequate. They work. And here's what the rear view camera looks like in the dark. Not the sharpest I've ever seen, but pretty good considering how dark it is out there. And here's an interesting feature. These seats light up in the dark with the Hyundai In emblem. So if you have eyes in the back of your head, you can watch it while you're driving. Here's a better view from the distance, looking outside in. The base price of a Veloster with the little 147 horsepower engine is around $19,000, but if you want the Veloster In, $34,745. That compares to the Honda Civic R at around $39,050. There are no options. Everything is standard. I won't go over the list, it's way too long, but here it is if you want to view it. And for those interested, this vehicle is made almost totally in Korea, not some third world country. By comparison, the Honda Civic Type R is made in the United Kingdom, for those who are concerned about things like that. For those not familiar with the Veloster system, it has a very unique door system. On the left, we get one large door. Great room for the driver getting in and out. And on the passenger side, instead of one large door, we have two medium-sized doors. And some people think this arrangement doesn't make much sense, but actually it does if you take a closer look. This was a two-door coupe with two large doors. It'd be great for the driver and front passenger, but getting in the rear, that'd be kind of a chore. When you have a two-door coupe, you've got to pull the seat forward to get the passengers in the back, and loading groceries and cargo is kind of a pain. But with this setup, you have a nice large door for the driver. And there's certainly no problem getting the passengers in the back or cargo, because you have a rear door to do so without compromising the left side. Overall, the system works pretty good. And the factory won't tell you this, but the fact is it also reduced production costs because you only have to make 3 doors instead of 4. Which means you pay less for the vehicle. It makes sense to me. This vehicle is rated at 20 mpg city, 27 highway, 22 overall. Regardless of the drive mode you have the vehicle set in, the power steering has very good feel and feedback. I don't think there's going to be any complaints. When I first got this vehicle, the ride was knocking the fillings out of my teeth, very, very stiff, and I got on the computer and found out someone had it set in the Sport Plus mode. Now I got it set in normal mode, so we'll take some speed bumps around 20 miles per hour after doing all my videos and see how the ride is. Here comes hump number 1. Reasonably smooth. Number 2. A lot more comfortable than it was in the Sport Plus racing mode, I'll tell you that. Number 3. And the nasty speed hump. Not bad. Not bad at all. So far we put 266 miles on this vehicle in all kinds of driving conditions. Heavy city traffic, expressway, freeway, 0 to 60 runs, and 23.4, that's a very nice figure, using premium fuel, of course. We're going to reset the mileage computer, take a highway trip, see if we can bump up the MPG figures a bit. This vehicle is a comfortable highway cruiser if you leave everything in the normal mode. Sport mode, no, not recommended. Normal mode on the freeway. And while it's relatively quiet on smooth pavement, on rough pavement, these tires and wheels generate a lot of rumbling noises, and there's not too much you can do about it. It is a small car after all. We've got some real nasty pavement now. I think you might be able to hear on the microphone going to your speaker. the rumbling noise as I am. Again, just the price you pay for driving a small sports car. Alright, coming to the end of our trip, I'll pull over and see what the fuel economy reading is. 38.6 miles, 27.8 mpg. We were going slightly uphill, not by much. Well, we got 27.8 mpg going uphill, and the return trip 31.1 going downhill. That's pretty close to 29 mpg overall. Impresses me. So now we're going to take this on some backcountry roads and see how it performs. So let's put everything in the Sport Plus mode. There we go. Ready to rock and roll. And as we can see, the headlights are doing a pretty good job of lighting up the signs down the road. Good thing, because there's a lot of wildlife out here you don't want to hit. Everything from skunks to mountain lions. People have been asking me which is quicker, the Honda Type R with the 6-speed manual transmission or the Hyundai Veloster N. It's hard to say because you have 3 choices in the Hyundai N. You have the 6-speed manual transmission, you have the 8-speed automatic without the launch control on, and you have the 8-speed automatic with the launch control on, which I haven't tried yet. I think overall, in general, the Veloster N and the Honda Type R are pretty close. However, that being said, this 8-speed automatic, put in the Sport Plus mode, once it gets moving, I think it's probably the quickest of the bunch. Yeah, definitely. Not dramatically so, but yeah, still the quickest of the bunch. This is a very impressive transmission. Many years ago, when the Veloster was introduced with that $17,000 price tag and dinky little underpowered 4-cylinder engine, nobody would have guessed that would evolve into a nice performance machine like this. Of course, people said the same thing about the Honda Civic, which grew into the Civic Type R. And the same thing about the Porsche 912, which evolved into the 1911. Evolution. It works. Right now I've got the transmission in manual mode using the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. And that's why the paddle shifters need to be located on the steering wheel rather than on the steering column like the Italians do, because if you're on the steering column, they're too hard to reach when taking corners, only in a straight line, making them pretty much useless on a road like this. With the paddles on the steering wheel, they're always within reach on the fingertips. And on a road like this, makes driving a lot easier. I put the transmission back in drive. It's in the Sport Plus setting. It shifts about as perfect as you want, just as well as the manual paddle shifters can, so I'll give my fingers a rest. Again, this is a very nice gearbox. I think the biggest difference between this vehicle and the Honda Civic Type R is the amount of effort it takes to drive it. And this Hyundai is about as effortless as it gets. The car almost drives itself. I'm just as comfortable as if I was sitting in my living room on a couch. Total comfort. Very smooth. I could do this all night. A very well designed, thought out machine. The engineers knew what they were doing on this one. Oh, doggone it, the bar is closed. Shucks. And it's too cold to get out anyway. 46 degrees. Normally when I'm done driving on this road, I pull over and take a 10 or 15 minute break. But on this car, it's so comfortable to drive, I don't need a break. In fact, I'm ready to go out and do this again. It's a very comfortable, easy vehicle to drive. Nice piece of engineering. I think driving this car with a 6-speed manual transmission would be fun. But after driving this 8-speed dual clutch transmission, I'd have to go with this. It's pretty hard to beat. Well, some people worry that the dual clutches aren't that reliable over the long haul. Hey, Hyundai's got a 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty on it, so I wouldn't worry. If it breaks, they'll fix it, right? Take a return trip on the freeway. See, we bump up our fuel economy numbers since we're going slightly downhill versus uphill as before. And we'll see what happens. So after a week of driving, what's my take on this Hyundai Veloster N? Well, if you watch my videos, you know we don't do shill videos here. We tell it like it is, so I very rarely give it 10 out of 10, but I think this might rank 10 out of 10 because I can't find anything wrong with it. You can't find too much that would improve it. They did a great job on this vehicle. So 10 out of 10. The only question you might have, should you buy this or the Honda Civic Type R? Well, let's look at the facts. Fact number one, the Honda Civic Type R is more expensive at around 40 grand versus this is 34 grand. Again, the Honda has pretty good resale value, so I think in the end, it'll all work out to be about even. Number two, the Veloster has a nice long 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. The Honda does not, but then again, Hondas are pretty reliable, so you'll probably never need the warranty. So things kind of even out there too. As far as styling goes, that's a personal choice. I think they're both nice looking. I think what it really comes down to is the transmission choice. These 6-speed manual cars are fun to drive. If you're going to get one as a part-time or second vehicle, you'll be okay. But for daily commuting, every single morning and afternoon, all week long, this automatic is definitely easier to live with. And with the 8-speed dual clutch gears and manual shifter on the steering wheel, offers slightly more performance than the manual transmission cars. If it's my choice, I'd have to go with the car with the 8-speed automatic, and this would be the Veloster. Although I can live with both. Give me the keys to both, I'll drive them. Coming up is a video we did on the Honda Civic Type R. If you want to compare the two, just click and watch. We're also going to toss in the Toyota Supra. If you like little compact rice burners, watch both videos.